Have you ever sat in a room full of people your own age and felt like you're decades older than them, not physically, but in some deeper, inexplicable way? Like you're carrying weight they can't see, speaking a language they don't understand, living on a different timeline than everyone else? You watch them laugh at things that stopped being funny to you years ago. You see them stress over problems that feel trivial compared to what you've been through. You listen to their conversations and wonder how they can be so carefree, so light, so young. Meanwhile, you feel ancient, tired, like you've lived several lifetimes while they're still on their first. This isn't your imagination, and you're not alone. Today, we're exploring why some people feel psychologically older than everyone around them. The burden of premature maturity, the depth that isolates, and the silent weight that ages the soul long before it ages the body. When childhood ended too soon for many people who feel older than their peers, childhood wasn't really childhood. It was survival training. It was learning to read the room before you could read a book. It was becoming the emotional support for adults who should have been supporting you. Maybe you had to grow up fast because someone in your family was sick. Maybe you were parentified, forced to be the responsible one, the caretaker, the problem solver before you hit double digits. Maybe trauma arrived early and shattered any illusion that the world was safe or fair. While other kids were playing, you were worrying. While they were being protected, you were protecting others. While they got to be children, you were already learning lessons meant for adults. That loss of innocence doesn't just go away, it becomes part of your operating system. You can't unlearn what you had to learn too soon. Emotional survival skills, early hardship teaches you things other people won't understand until much later in life, if they ever do. You learn that people leave, that love can hurt, that nothing is guaranteed, that you can't always trust the people who are supposed to take care of you. These aren't pleasant lessons, but they're profound ones. They forced you to develop emotional intelligence, psychological resilience, and survival instincts that your peers simply didn't need yet. So now, when they're experiencing their first betrayal or loss or disappointment, you're already on your 10th. When they're just learning that life isn't fair, you've already built your entire worldview around that truth. You're not more mature because you're special. You're more mature because you had no choice. The wisdom born from pain. There's a specific kind of wisdom that only comes from suffering. It can't be taught in books or learned in classrooms. It's forged in the fire of real experience, real loss, real pain. This wisdom makes you see life differently. You understand fragility in a way others don't. You appreciate stability because you know what chaos feels like. You value authenticity because you've seen through too many masks. But this wisdom also separates you from people who haven't paid that price yet. Their concerns feel surface level because they haven't been forced to go deeper. And you can't explain this to them without sounding condescending or bitter. So you stay quiet, and the gap widens. Seeing what others miss psychological maturity means your brain works differently than most people your age. You see patterns in behavior. You understand cause and effect in human relationships. You recognize when someone is acting out of hurt rather than malice. You can hold complexity and nuance that others reduce to simple binaries. This is exhausting. While others can take things at face value, you're always reading between the lines. While they can enjoy the moment, you're aware of consequences. While they can be impulsive, you're calculating risks and outcomes 3 moves ahead. You're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, and there's no way to turn your brain off and play the simpler game anymore. The burden of foresight. When you're psychologically mature, you see where things are heading before they get there. You watch your friend make a decision, and you already know it will hurt them in 6 months. You observe patterns in your workplace and predict the conflict before it erupts. You understand the trajectory of relationships that others think are fine. This foresight is a curse disguised as a gift. Because what do you do with this knowledge? Most people don't want to hear it. They call you negative or paranoid or overthinking. They need to learn their own lessons, make their own mistakes. So you watch, you wait, you're proven right again and again, but there's no satisfaction in it, only weariness, the loneliness of seeing what's coming and being unable to stop it or share it. Emotional regulation that others lack. People who feel older usually have a level of emotional control that their peers haven't developed yet. You don't fly off the handle at every inconvenience. You don't make impulsive decisions based on temporary feelings. You don't need to broadcast every emotion on social media for validation. This isn't because you're cold. It's because you learned early that emotional chaos creates consequences. You learned to manage your internal world because external circumstances forced you to. But this self-regulation can make you seem detached or unemotional to others. They mistake your stability for apathy. They don't understand that you're not repressing feelings. You're processing them internally with a sophistication they haven't developed yet. And so they connect with each other over their shared emotional volatility while you stand apart, too controlled to join in. Conversations that feel empty when you operate at a deeper level psychologically. Surface level interactions feel like sandpaper on your soul. You can't get excited about small talk or gossip or discussions that go nowhere. Your mind naturally gravitates toward meaning, purpose, truth, the big questions. But most social interaction happens at the surface. People bond over shared complaints, celebrity drama, weekend plans. And you're wondering about existence, mortality, purpose, the nature of consciousness, why we're all pretending that any of this makes sense. You try to bridge the gap. You participate in the light conversations, but there's always a part of you that's elsewhere, hungry for depth that rarely comes. The loneliness of unshared experience. When you've been through more than your peers, you carry experiences they can't relate to. Your reference points are different. Your understanding of pain, loss, fear, or complexity comes from direct exposure, not theory. They talk about stress, and you think about the time you held it together while everything fell apart. They discuss difficult decisions, and you remember when you had to choose between impossible options with no good answer. You can't share these experiences without seeming like you're one-upping them or making everything about yourself, so you nod along, but you feel isolated in your knowing. Like you're a war veteran at a table of people who've only watched war movies. The exhaustion of translation. Living as a psychologically mature person in an immature world requires constant translation. You have to simplify your thoughts to make them palatable. You have to hide your depth to avoid making others uncomfortable. You have to pretend things are lighter than they feel to you. This is emotional labor that no one acknowledges. You're constantly adjusting yourself down, muting your complexity, performing a younger, less burdened version of yourself. And it's exhausting. Because you're not being fake. You're just trying to fit into spaces that weren't designed for someone who thinks and feels as much as you do. Carrying others' emotional weight. People who feel older often become the unofficial therapists for everyone around them. Friends come to you with problems because you give good advice. Family members lean on you because you're the strong one. Colleagues confide in you because you seem like you can handle it, and you can. But that doesn't mean you should have to. You absorb everyone's pain, process everyone's problems, hold space for everyone's emotions, but who holds space for yours? Who can you go to when you're struggling? Usually no one, because you're the one everyone else goes to. This creates an impossible dynamic. You become the caretaker again, just like you probably were too early in life. The burden grows heavier, but you can't put it down because people are counting on you. The invisibility of your struggles. Here's the cruelest irony. Because you seem so capable, so mature, so together, people assume you're fine. They don't see you struggling because you've learned to struggle quietly. You've mastered the art of functioning while falling apart. Your pain is invisible because you carry it with grace. Your exhaustion is hidden because you don't complain. Your needs are unmet because you don't ask. Or when you do, people are shocked because they didn't realize you had needs, so you suffer in silence. Not because you want to, but because breaking the illusion of your strength would disappoint people who've come to depend on it. The weight of unspoken truth. You carry truths you can't speak. You understand things about people they don't understand about themselves. You see dysfunction in systems everyone else accepts as normal. You recognize patterns that others are blind to. But speaking these truths makes you the problem. You become the negative one, the party pooper, the person who ruins the vibe by being too deep or too serious. So you keep your insights to yourself. You watch the world make preventable mistakes. You see people hurt themselves and each other through ignorance that feels willful. And this burden of seeing, of knowing, of understanding sits heavy on your shoulders. It ages you from the inside out. Accepting your timeline, you are not behind because you feel older. You're not damaged because you matured faster. Your psychological age is a reflection of your journey, not a judgment of your worth. Some people go through life on an escalator, smooth, predictable, age-appropriate challenges at age-appropriate times. You went through a different door. Your path included obstacles that accelerated your growth, whether you wanted them to or not. This doesn't make you better than others, but it does make you different. And accepting that difference is the first step toward peace. Finding your people, the truth is, not everyone will understand you. Most people won't, but some will. There are others out there who also feel like old souls in young bodies, who also carry weight that's invisible to the world, who also crave depth in a shallow culture. These people are rare. But when you find them, the relief is profound. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to translate. You don't have to pretend to be lighter than you are. Build your life around these few who see you, rather than exhausting yourself trying to be seen by the many who can't. Honoring your needs, you need different things than your peers. You need more solitude because social interaction drains you faster. You need deeper conversations because small talk feels like starvation. You need time to process because you feel things more intensely. Stop apologizing for these needs. Stop forcing yourself to fit into social templates designed for people with different nervous systems, different histories, different depths. Your needs are valid. Meeting them isn't selfish, it's survival. The gift within the burden, yes, feeling older is lonely, it's exhausting, it's unfair, but it's also given you something invaluable, perspective. You see life more clearly than most. You understand human nature more deeply. You've developed compassion, wisdom, and resilience that many people never will. You can offer guidance, support, and insight that comes from real experience, not borrowed ideas. Your premature aging of the soul has a purpose. You've become someone who can help others navigate what you've already been through. Your burden can become someone else's bridge. Feeling older than everyone around you isn't a flaw. It's a mark of the path you've walked, a testimony to what you've survived, processed, and integrated. Yes, it sets you apart. Yes, it's lonely. Yes, it sometimes feels like a curse. But it's also your strength, your depth, your superpower hidden in plain sight. You're not too serious. You're not overthinking. You're not boring or damaged or broken. You're just older in the ways that matter. Psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, you've been aged by life itself. And while that comes with a cost, it also comes with a kind of knowing that can't be taken from you. The world needs old souls. It needs people who've been broken and rebuilt themselves. It needs people who understand that surface level living isn't enough. It needs people like you who feel too much, see too much, carry too much. So carry it with dignity. Find your people, honor your needs, and know that your psychological age isn't a burden to overcome. It's a depth to embrace. Thank you for watching Motivation Thrones. If you feel older than you should, you're not alone. Share this with someone who carries the weight of psychological maturity. And remember, your depth is not a defect, it's a distinction.